Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you the three different modes of the Get Info window in the Mac Finder. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So in the Finder on your Mac you can choose a file and then use Command-I or File Get Info to get all sorts of information about the file you've selected. So for instance, I can select this file here. I can go to File, Get Info, and you can see the keyboard shortcut is Command-I, and it brings up this window here. At the top you see the name of the file you've selected and the word Info, and then you see its icon, you see the name, you see the file size here, the last modified date. You can see any tags that are associated with that file. Then you have these different sections. You can reveal these different sections with the little disclosure triangle here on the left. The first one, General, gives you information like the kind, more detail about the size, where it's located, the date it was created, and such. Under More Info you can see lots of other information, and this may change depending upon the type of file. So in this case it's an image, so you can see things like dimensions, the color space, whether there's an alpha channel, all sorts of things like that. Each one of these gives you more and more information. Here's the name again, but this time in an editable window, so you can actually change the name here. You've got comments if you want to see that. Open with, and you can set the default app to open this file. You've got a preview area, and some file types like an image here will give you a preview, and you see sharing and permissions as the last one. So you can open and close these sections as you need, and it will remember that and show you that in the info window. Now if you want to get information about another file, you would select that file like that and do Command-I or File Get Info, and then you have a second window here. Each one of these showing the information for the file that was selected when you chose that file. So if you want to get info on a lot of files you're going to have a lot of these little windows open. In fact, if I close both of these and say I want to get info on these 4 files here and use Command-I, it's going to open 4 different windows, one for each file. And that's the way the standard Get Info window works. But there are 2 other variations of this window, and these are more useful when you're dealing with multiple files or just wanting to get info on various files without having to open up an info window, close it, select another file, open again, close, and so on. So the first variation I want to show you is if you go to File, Get Info, but this time you hold down the Control key. And you can see Get Info changes to Get Summary Info. And the keyboard shortcut, since I'm holding down the Control key, is Control Command-I. Now if I select that with 4 files selected, it will show multiple item info here at the top, how many items there are, and the total amount of space they're using. And then all of the sections here will show you only combined information. So for instance the combined size. And this is a handy way to find out how much space a group of files takes up. But other than that, it works just like a regular Get Info window. This is a regular window here. It will go behind another window if I select it. If I select some other files here, this stays the same, showing the info for those 4 items that were selected before. So here's the third variation on the Get Info window. If I go to File, Get Info, but this time hold down the Option key, you can see it changes to Show Inspector with the keyboard shortcut Option Command-I. Now when I bring this up, at first it doesn't seem any different than the Get Info window. It shows the same title up here, although you may notice that the title area is smaller. Then it shows the same info below that, tags, all of these different sections are the same, and it all just appears to basically be the same thing as the Get Info window. But there are 2 important differences. One is this floats on top. If I were to select this window here, notice how when I drag it, this info window or the inspector window remains on top of the Finder window. It's a floating window, so that kind of makes it easier to always have that on top as say you move windows around like this. But the other very important difference is that what this shows will change depending upon what I have selected. So here I've selected this image here. If I go to select this image instead, notice it changes. It doesn't still show the information from that original file selection. So now I see the information for this file that's selected. In fact, you only have one inspector window. you can't open a second one because it's just a single window that will change to show you whatever it is you've got selected and all of the information for that. In addition, if I were to select multiple files, and I'll do that by selecting one file and then command clicking another file, you could see it changes to show me the summary info. So now it says 2 items here and shows me the total and summarizes the information. I can select a third file as well. Now it says 3 items. I can even select folders. If I select this folder, it'll show me the total there, and I can select more folders and you can see it adds it up. It counts each folder as one item, so it's not actually showing me the items inside each one. But if I look under size here in general, it shows me the total size and that there are in fact 41 items in these 4 folders. So actually this inspector is usually more useful. Rarely are we trying to get info on maybe different files at the same time like that. Usually we just want one file like that, and then when we want another file we close this one, select another file, and get info on that. But with the inspector, holding down the Option key and using Option Command I get this file here, and then I get whatever file it is I have selected. Plus, since it remains on top, it's not always going to jump behind every time I try to use something in a Finder window. In fact, it's easy to keep this window open as kind of a preview area, especially if you're looking at images. So I've got the preview here turned on, and now I can go through and perhaps use this as a way to see what image it is that I have selected. It's a little more permanent than using Quick Look, which will pop up when you use the space bar and go away, and usually have to get rid of it in order to see what's behind it. And it's more movable than using View Show Preview, which will show a preview here with some information, but it's attached to the Finder window. It's always on the right side. This you can move around and put somewhere else if you need. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.